Hello, my friend. I'm Dr. Sophia Jain, and today we're going to have an honest conversation about a subject that's often whispered about, avoided in doctors' offices, and sometimes buried under layers of embarrassment. But it's one of the most important conversations you can have as a man over 50. I want to talk to you about your prostate, about circulation, about vitality, and about a simple daily practice that may surprise you with how powerful it is for your health. Now, I know some of you may already be shifting in your chair. The idea of linking something as personal and private as masturbation to long-term health may sound unusual, even uncomfortable. But I promise you, what I'm going to share with you isn't just theory or speculation. It's grounded in real medical science, decades of clinical experience, and most importantly, in the lives of thousands of men who've regained comfort, energy, and dignity through practical self-care. Let me start with this. Aging doesn't mean losing your masculinity. It doesn't mean surrendering to discomfort, and it absolutely doesn't mean that you should live the rest of your years feeling weaker, more fatigued, or ashamed of natural changes in your body. Instead, what if aging could mean learning to work with your body, listening to its signals and supporting it in ways that allow you to thrive? And here's where we need to zoom in on the prostate. The prostate is only about the size of a walnut in most men, sitting just beneath your bladder. It often gets ignored until it causes problems, but it plays a role in several essential functions. It helps regulate urine flow, it produces vital fluids for reproduction, and it interacts with your hormones and circulatory system in ways we're still discovering. By the time many men reach their 50s and 60s, the prostate has often become a source of worry. You might notice you're waking up more at night to urinate. Maybe your stream feels weaker than it used to. Perhaps you've experienced pressure, discomfort, or even a drop in sexual performance. These are common signs of benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, as well as prostatitis, which is inflammation of the gland. And let me be very clear here, you are not alone. Studies show that nearly half of men in their 50s already have some level of prostate enlargement. By the time you reach your 60s or 70s, that number climbs even higher. It is one of the most universal male health issues, and yet it's still one of the least openly discussed. But here's something few people talk about. Your body actually has a built-in maintenance tool. It's simple, it's free, and it's already available to you. And that tool is ejaculation through mindful self-stimulation. Now, before I get into the details, let's pause and address the elephant in the room. Why is it that something as natural as masturbation carries so much stigma, especially as men age? In American culture, men are often conditioned to associate self-stimulation with adolescence or secrecy, something you grow out of once you're married or in a relationship. And as the years go on, shame, religious teachings, or cultural expectations often layer on top of that silence. By the time a man reaches his 50s, many feel that even mentioning it is somehow inappropriate. But here's the truth. Your body doesn't retire at 50. Your prostate doesn't stop working at 60, and your need for circulation, hormonal balance, and physical release doesn't vanish simply because you've added another candle to your birthday cake. When we strip away the shame and look at the biology, what we see is that this natural act is actually one of the most powerful ways to support prostate health, especially as you age. Think of your prostate like the oil filter in your car. It's a working gland designed to produce and release fluid. When that fluid builds up and sits stagnant, it creates congestion. That congestion can contribute to inflammation, discomfort, and in some cases, enlargement of the gland. Now imagine what happens if you never change your oil or clean your filter. The system becomes less efficient, pressure builds, and parts start wearing down faster. The same principle applies to your prostate. It was designed for regular activity. When that activity disappears for long stretches, the gland becomes vulnerable. This is why research has consistently shown that men who maintain a healthy rhythm of ejaculation, whether through sex or masturbation, often experience lower risks of chronic prostate inflammation. Some studies even suggest a reduced likelihood of developing more serious prostate conditions later in life. As men age, circulation naturally declines. Hormonal rhythms shift, muscles lose tone. Even the smallest lifestyle factors, like how much you sit each day or how hydrated you stay, begin to make a much bigger difference. The prostate, being such a small but active gland, is especially sensitive to these changes. Reduced circulation means fewer nutrients and less oxygen are delivered to the tissue. Slower metabolism means waste products accumulate more easily, and if the gland isn't regularly cleared, the result is a recipe for swelling, inflammation, and discomfort. So when I suggest that mindful masturbation can be a powerful form of self-care, I'm not talking about indulgence. I'm talking about maintenance. The same way you brush your teeth to prevent decay or stretch your muscles to avoid stiffness, this practice can be seen as a form of hygiene for your inner body. And let me stress this. This is not about performance. It's not about living up to anyone else's expectations. It's not about shame or secrecy. It's about reclaiming ownership of your health in one of the most natural and accessible ways possible. Now that you understand why the prostate matters and why it requires regular attention, in the next part we're going to look at exactly how masturbation supports prostate health. We'll break down the benefits into clear, practical categories: circulation, inflammation, hormones, and congestion, so you can see precisely how this practice works inside your body. Because when you really understand what's happening biologically, the shame begins to dissolve. You stop seeing it as something juvenile or embarrassing and start seeing it as one of the simplest, most powerful ways to protect your health and maintain your strength as you age. Now that we've laid the foundation and you understand why your prostate deserves attention, let's dig into the details. When I explain to my patients why regular ejaculation is good for prostate health, I like to break it down into 4 key areas: circulation, inflammation, hormonal balance, and congestion. Each of these plays a direct role in how comfortable and functional your prostate feels as you age. And remember, this is not about fantasy or indulgence. It's about working with your biology in a smart, deliberate way. 1. Improved circulation. Fuel for the pelvic region. Every time you stimulate yourself, your body naturally increases blood flow to the pelvic region. Think of circulation as fuel delivery. Blood carries oxygen, nutrients, and hormones that nourish every cell in your body. When blood flow slows down, which happens naturally with age, sedentary lifestyle, or poor vascular health, tissues get less of that vital fuel. Your prostate is one of those tissues. It's small, but it requires a steady flow of nutrients and oxygen to repair itself, maintain function, and flush out cellular waste. When circulation improves during arousal, you're essentially delivering a rush of fresh fuel to this important gland. I often tell men to think of it like running water through pipes. If the water flows regularly, the pipes stay clear and fresh. If water just sits stagnant, residue builds up, the pipes corrode, and the system clogs. The prostate benefits from that same flushing effect, keeping the tissue healthier and more resilient. Now, here's the part most men don't realize. Poor circulation in the pelvis doesn't just affect urination or sexual health. It can impact your energy, mood, and even lower back comfort because all of these systems are connected through blood vessels and nerves. So when you improve circulation through self-stimulation, you're supporting not only your prostate, but your overall vitality. 2. Reduced inflammation and fluid buildup. Let's move to inflammation. One of the biggest culprits in prostate discomfort is congestion, fluid building up inside the gland because it isn't being released regularly. This creates pressure, swelling, and eventually irritation of the surrounding nerves. That irritation often shows up as frequent urination, a weak stream, or that frustrating sense that you can't fully empty your bladder. Regular ejaculation helps drain those built-up secretions, clearing out the gland and reducing swelling. I sometimes call this the internal rinse cycle. Just like a washing machine keeps spinning to remove excess water and soap, your prostate needs that release to prevent fluid from sitting too long. There's also a larger systemic benefit here. Inflammation doesn't just stay isolated in one area. Chronic inflammation in the prostate can create ripple effects throughout the body, adding stress to your immune system and contributing to fatigue. By regularly flushing out this gland, you reduce one source of that inflammatory burden, which helps your whole body feel lighter and more balanced. 3. Hormonal balance and mood support. Another major benefit comes from the hormonal release that happens during orgasm. Your body produces a natural cocktail of chemicals, including endorphins, which act as natural painkillers and mood elevators, oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone, which calms your nervous system and lowers stress, prolactin, which helps regulate sexual satisfaction and recovery, a temporary boost in testosterone circulation, which can support libido and energy. This hormonal rhythm matters more than many men realize. After 50, testosterone levels naturally begin to decline, sometimes leading to fatigue, low libido, irritability, and even sleep disturbances. While masturbation doesn't permanently raise testosterone, it does help keep your hormonal system active and responsive, like giving it a gentle workout. Think of it like tuning an instrument. If you never play the guitar, the strings loosen, the wood stiffens, and it falls out of tune. But if you strum it regularly, it stays responsive. Your hormonal system is similar. It benefits from rhythm, activity, and feedback. And let's not overlook the mental health benefits. For many men, stress is a constant companion, especially in later years with careers, financial responsibilities, or caring for family members. The calming hormonal release from self-stimulation is a natural way to regulate stress and restore balance without relying solely on medication. 4. Preventing prostate congestion. Finally, let's talk about congestion in more detail. Your prostate is a working gland designed to produce and release fluid as part of your reproductive system. When that fluid sits for long periods, the gland becomes congested, like a balloon slowly filling with air. That congestion can contribute to enlargement, pain, and even increased susceptibility to infection. Ejaculation is the natural release valve. It clears the gland, keeps the environment clean, and prevents the buildup that often leads to discomfort. Some doctors describe it as emptying the tank. And when you do it regularly, you're preventing the tank from overfilling in the first place. There's a misconception that once a man reaches a certain age, sexual activity, whether alone or with a partner, is less important. In reality, your body continues to need that outlet well into your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Prostate congestion doesn't check your birth certificate before it causes problems, which means that regular release remains one of the simplest forms of prevention available to you. Connecting the dots. So let's step back for a moment. Improved circulation keeps the tissues nourished. Reduced inflammation keeps the gland calm. Hormonal balance supports mood, energy, and vitality. And preventing congestion keeps the prostate functioning as it should. When you combine all 4 of these benefits, what you get is not just short-term relief, but long-term support for one of the most vulnerable areas of your body. And remember, this is not a prescription drug with a list of side effects. This is your body's own built-in healing mechanism. In the next section, we'll talk about something equally important: moderation and mindfulness. Because just like exercise, nutrition, or anything else in life, balance matters. Too little activity can create problems, but too much can bring its own set of challenges. I'll show you how to find a rhythm that feels supportive, not compulsive. A rhythm that turns this practice into a healthy ritual rather than a hidden habit.
At this point, you understand the core benefits of regular self-stimulation: better circulation, reduced inflammation, hormonal support, and freedom from congestion. But like every other area of health, balance is the key. Too little can create problems, but too much can as well. This is where moderation and mindfulness enter the conversation. Why balance matters? Let me share an analogy. Think of exercise. If you never move your body, your muscles weaken, your joints stiffen, and your heart loses strength. But if you push too hard, if you overtrain without recovery, you strain your body, wear down your energy, and sometimes even injure yourself. The principle is the same here. When self-stimulation is practiced with intention, rhythm, and mindfulness, it becomes a supportive ritual, a gentle tune-up for your prostate and overall well-being. But if it becomes compulsive, secretive, or used as an escape from daily life, it can leave you feeling drained, distracted, or even guilty. The goal isn't indulgence, it's balance. Signs of healthy rhythm. So how do you know you've found the right balance? Here are a few signs that your rhythm is healthy. You feel refreshed afterward, not fatigued or depleted. Your daily responsibilities aren't affected. It doesn't interfere with your work, your family, or your relationships. You feel calmer and more centered instead of restless or ashamed. Your body feels comfortable. No soreness, irritation, or fatigue that lingers. For most men, a rhythm of 2 to 4 times per week works well. Some men feel best with more frequent activity, others with less. The key is paying attention to how your body responds instead of following arbitrary rules or comparing yourself to others. Mindfulness, making it a ritual, not a habit. One of the most powerful shifts I've seen in my patients happens when they stop viewing masturbation as a secret habit and start treating it as a mindful ritual. The difference comes down to intention. A habit is something you do automatically, often without awareness. A ritual is something you approach with care, purpose, and respect. When you create a ritual around self-stimulation, it changes the way you experience it, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually. That might mean setting aside quiet time instead of rushing. It might mean breathing deeply, paying attention to your body's responses, or even combining it with relaxation techniques like meditation or gentle stretching. It's about slowing down, listening to your body, and giving yourself permission to be present. When practiced mindfully, this becomes more than just physical release. It becomes a form of self-care, a way of reconnecting with your body, and a reminder that you are still whole, still vital, and still deserving of pleasure and health. Addressing myths and misconceptions. Now let's clear up a few common myths that often keep men from embracing this practice without guilt. Myth 1. Masturbation is only for young men. False. Your body's need for release doesn't expire when you hit 50, 60, or 70. Prostate congestion can occur at any age, and regular ejaculation remains a natural, effective way to prevent it. Myth 2. It weakens performance or masculinity. In reality, the opposite is true. By improving circulation, hormonal rhythm, and prostate health, mindful self-stimulation can actually help you maintain sexual vitality for longer. Myth 3. It's a sign of loneliness or lack. This is one of the most damaging misconceptions. Self-care is not a replacement for intimacy, but it doesn't compete with it either. Many men in loving relationships still benefit from regular solo activity because it keeps their bodies healthy and responsive. Myth 4. It causes health problems. There's no scientific evidence that masturbation harms the prostate or overall health when practiced in moderation. In fact, the evidence points strongly in the other direction. It helps prevent problems. Reclaiming body confidence. One of the hardest parts of aging for many men isn't the physical changes themselves, but the sense of losing connection with their own body. They notice their hair turning gray, their joints stiffening, or their stamina decreasing, and they begin to feel like strangers in their own skin. Mindful self-stimulation can be a powerful way to reclaim that connection. It's not about vanity or trying to turn back the clock. It's about saying to yourself, I am still alive. I am still capable of experiencing pleasure. My body still responds. I am not broken. That sense of ownership can ripple out into other areas of life. When a man feels confident in his body, he's more likely to eat better, exercise, and take care of himself. He's more likely to approach relationships with openness instead of withdrawal. And he's more likely to see aging not as a decline, but as an evolution. When to seek help. Of course, there are times when self-care alone isn't enough. If you experience persistent pain, difficulty urinating, blood in your urine or semen, or sudden changes in your prostate health, don't ignore it. Those symptoms deserve medical attention. And if you ever feel like self-stimulation is getting in the way of your daily life, if it feels compulsive, isolating, or tied to emotional distress, reaching out to a healthcare provider or therapist can help you find balance. There's no weakness in asking for help, there's wisdom in it. So far, we've talked about the biology and the balance. In the final section, I'm going to zoom out and connect this practice with the bigger picture of your lifestyle. Because while mindful masturbation is powerful, it's not the only piece of the puzzle. Nutrition, exercise, stress management, and daily routines all play a role in keeping your prostate and your entire body healthy as you age. And when you put these pieces together, you create not just a longer life, but a better life, one filled with energy, dignity, and confidence.
We've talked about the biology of the prostate, the benefits of mindful self-stimulation, and the importance of moderation. Now it's time to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because while this practice is powerful, it's just one piece of the puzzle. Your daily habits, what you eat, how you move, how you handle stress, and how you rest, all work together to shape your prostate health and your overall vitality. Nutrition, feeding your prostate. Let's start with diet. The foods you put into your body every day can either fuel inflammation or fight it. They can either clog your circulation or keep it flowing smoothly. One of the simplest changes you can make is to focus on whole, unprocessed foods. Vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, healthy fats, and whole grains provide the nutrients your prostate and circulatory system need. Certain foods stand out for prostate health. Tomatoes, rich in lycopene, an antioxidant that supports prostate tissue and may reduce the risk of enlargement. Cooking tomatoes, like in sauces or soups, makes lycopene even more available to your body. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts contain compounds that support hormone balance and reduce inflammation. Fatty fish, salmon, sardines, and mackerel are high in omega-3 fatty acids, which help lower inflammation throughout the body. Nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, and flax seeds provide zinc and other minerals important for prostate function. Green tea, loaded with antioxidants that may protect prostate cells and support healthy metabolism. On the flip side, try to limit foods that increase inflammation and stress your circulation. Processed meats, fried foods, excessive sugar, and too much alcohol. You don't have to be perfect, but every step toward a cleaner diet makes a difference. Movement, keeping blood flow strong. Next comes movement. We already know circulation is critical for prostate health, and nothing improves circulation like exercise. The good news is you don't have to run marathons or spend hours in the gym to see benefits. Simple, consistent movement works wonders. Walking, even 20 to 30 minutes a day, can boost circulation and support your heart and pelvic region. Strength training helps maintain muscle, which supports hormone balance and keeps your metabolism active. Stretching and mobility work keeps blood flowing and prevents stiffness in the hips and lower back, areas closely connected to pelvic health. Pelvic floor exercises, sometimes called Kegels, these strengthen the muscles around the prostate and bladder, improving control and reducing urinary symptoms. Think of exercise as medicine for your circulation. Every time you move, you're not only supporting your heart and muscles, but also giving your prostate a healthier environment. Stress and rest, the overlooked factors. Now let's talk about stress. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. High cortisol over long periods contributes to inflammation, hormone imbalance, and even sexual dysfunction. That's why relaxation practices are so valuable. Meditation, deep breathing, yoga, prayer, time in nature, All of these help bring down stress levels and give your body space to heal. Sleep is equally important. During deep sleep, your body restores hormone balance, repairs tissues, and strengthens your immune system. Men who shortchange their sleep often notice more urinary symptoms, more fatigue, and lower mood. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep most nights. Your prostate, your hormones, and your mind will thank you. Bringing it all together. So, how does this all fit into your daily life? Here's a picture of what a prostate-friendly routine might look like. Start your morning with a glass of water and some gentle stretching. Eat a breakfast that includes protein and healthy fats, like eggs with avocado or oatmeal with nuts and seeds. Take a brisk walk during the day to get your circulation moving. Enjoy meals built around vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy oils. Practice mindful self-stimulation 2 to 4 times per week, paying attention to how your body feels and adjusting as needed. Take time for relaxation in the evening, reading, breathing exercises, or meditation. Prioritize sleep, letting your body fully recharge overnight. Your prostate, your hormones, and your mind will thank you. Aging with strength and dignity. Here's the message I want you to take away. Aging does not mean decline. Aging means change, yes, but change that you can adapt to, support, and even embrace. Your prostate health is not just about avoiding discomfort. It's about maintaining confidence, independence, and vitality. It's about waking up in the morning with energy. It's about enjoying time with your partner without fear or embarrassment. It's about knowing that you are still whole, still capable, still strong. When you practice mindful self-stimulation, eat nourishing foods, stay active, manage stress, and rest well, you're not just taking care of your prostate, you're taking care of the man you are and the life you want to live. So let's replace silence with knowledge. Let's replace shame with respect. Let's replace passivity with action. Your body is speaking to you every day. When you listen, when you respond with care, you unlock your ability to age with strength, dignity, and vitality. Remember, you are not broken. You are not past your prime. You are evolving. And with the right daily practices, you can make these years some of the healthiest, most confident, and most fulfilling of your life. This is Dr. Sophia Jain reminding you, take care of your body, take care of your mind, and never forget that you deserve to thrive at every stage of life.